Splatoon 3 has been announced and shown off multiple times now, but we don't seem to have any beta announcements for it. Nintendo is constantly showing off the game through Nintendo Direct, but it looks like we are finally going to be able to try the game through a demo. So stay tuned to today's video as we go over the demo and the whopping 26 weapons that you can use. First up, the Splatoon 3 demo is fast approaching. Splatoon 3 has been a highly anticipated Nintendo Switch release ever since its announcement last year. The game was announced during a random Nintendo Switch Direct, and the fanbase went crazy. If you have spent any amount of time in the Nintendo discourse, you will know how popular Splatoon is amongst the fanbase. It is easily one of Nintendo's biggest franchises right now, as it stands out amongst the current shooters in popularity. Splatoon 1 carved its own niche back on the Wii U, which led into Splatoon 2's release and re-release on the Nintendo Switch. The game has never really reached the point that other shooters have got to, like Destiny and Overwatch, but it has still kept a consistent player base and has been updated by the developers a decent amount. Splatoon 3's announcement was pretty shocking for fans, as they weren't expecting a new Nintendo Switch release for a long time. Nintendo's track record for this game has been pretty random, so it was hard to determine when a third game would release, if at all. The game's setting seems much different than the last two, but the biggest thing people were waiting for was its PvP offerings. Splatoon's open world is one thing, but its PvP is where most of the player base sticks around and grinds the hardest. It's an extensive and very customizable shooter with a lot of tactics that you'd have to learn if you wanted to get into the franchise. Because of the vast amount of weapons that Splatoon has, it's not the easiest to get into, meaning that its player base is very hardcore. Over the last year or so, Nintendo has slowly been showing off little bits of Splatoon 3 through Nintendo Direct and trailers on social media. However, it took them a long time to officially confirm a beta and demo release for the game. This was only recently announced by Nintendo of America, as Splatoon 3's Splatfest World Premiere will be launching sometime soon. The official game launches on September 9th, so this demo is going to hold people over until that final release date. In terms of demos, Nintendo themselves have had a pretty decent track record on the Nintendo Switch. They've been giving out a good portion of the game through demos, which allows players to determine if they are going to enjoy the game before dropping the money. Because of how Splatoon 3 is going to work, this Splatfest World Premiere demo is actually going to be a PvP tester. We don't have a lot of information on this demo, but the biggest thing is that a total of 26 weapons will be usable within it. Splatoon is definitely known for its wide range of weapons, and by having this many in the demo, it's insane for the player base. In the lead up to the official full release, they're going to be able to test everything out as if they had the actual game. Fans are also expecting brand new weapons to be released throughout the course of Splatoon 3's life cycle, as 2 weapons have already been announced. We have the 3’s Stinger and the Splatoon Wiper. These sound awesome, and we can't wait for the player base to figure out what the niches are for them. This is all we currently know about this Splatoon 3 demo, as information is pretty thin on it. The demo should be coming out soon, and it will definitely hold you over until the official release on September 9th for Splatoon 3. Please let us know in the comments section below your thoughts on Splatoon 3 and these 26 weapons you are going to be able to mess around with in the demo. And now, on to some other gaming news. Next up, Splatoon 3 cheaters are reportedly getting console and Nintendo Switch online bans for their actions. One of the biggest things within gaming right now is cheating, and it plagues every platform possible, from PC to console to even something like the Nintendo Switch. Because of the lack of online multiplayer games that Nintendo offers, you don't see that many cheaters on the platform. However, with games like Splatoon 3 rising up in the shooter sphere, cheating is definitely going to happen. Nintendo have recently caught a bunch of Nintendo Switch online users cheating in Splatoon 3 and have rewarded them with a console and Nintendo Switch online ban. This basically means that their console is no longer able to connect to internet services, and they can no longer purchase Nintendo Switches online for playing multiplayer games. Because of the amount of players already cheating in Splatoon 3, Nintendo banning them so soon makes a lot of sense. One user on Twitter even went into detail about the anti-cheat that Splatoon 3 has in place. Affected players are getting console bans and possibly total bans from subscription service Nintendo Switch Online, too, without which players cannot access multiplayer features. Splatoon 3 has anti-cheat in place, explained Oatmeal Dome, adding that they won't be going into much detail about how it works, since anti-cheat relies has on security through obscurity. Nintendo is beginning to issue console bans, possibly total ban from Nintendo Switch Online to players who modified the game. One particular patch that was being shared around lets you enter the testing range early, they added. It appears to be the most popular reason for the ban. Given how Splatoon 2 was also able to detect these patches, this is completely unsurprising. Not sure why people thought that this was okay to try. Splatoon 3 finally releases on Nintendo Switch on the 9th of September, but if you'd like to try it out before then, a free demo that features three-way fights is out now. One recent Splatoon 3 reviewer said this about the game so far. After going hands-on with Splatoon 3 at a recent preview event, this new sequel felt pretty similar to how I remember the first game playing. Ian wrote in his Splatoon 3 preview, "Sure, there's a new single-player campaign to play through, along with a bunch of new maps for Turf War and Salmon Run, but to my out-of-touch eye, the focus for this sequel seems to be on updating and improving what the players already love, rather than revolutionizing the game and giving Splatoon fans something new to wrap their fish fingers around." Finally, God of War Ragnarok is going to be making some key changes to its combat system. The final thing we're going to be going over in today's gaming video is that God of War Ragnarok is making some very key changes to its combat system. God of War's combat system has been hailed as one of the best in the current generation. It's super smooth to play and really satisfying to chain attacks together. However, for God of War Ragnarok, it looks like some key gameplay features are going to be improved and swapped around. New details about the revamped combat system have appeared, and it looks like new elemental attacks and a redesign for the shield are being implemented. This information comes from Game Informer's cover story post on God of War Ragnarok leading up to its release later this year. Developers shared their footage and information with the publication, leading to this information coming out on the new combat system. One of these brand new additions is through a simple press of the triangle button. One of the biggest things in the original God of War game was that pressing triangle would serve to recall back the Leviathan axe once Kratos had thrown it. However, after that, its functionality was pointless. With this new combat system, pressing triangle uses the weapon's signature moves. These allow Kratos to perform Whiplash, Frost Awaken, and even allow him to imbue the Blades of Chaos with fire, as well as the Leviathan axe with ice. There's currently no word on new weapons appearing in God of War Ragnarok, as it doesn't really make sense story-wise. The entire purpose of Kratos having an axe within God of War was for him to hide away the Blades of Chaos until he really needed to use them. If you played the game, you'd know that Kratos only brings out his original Blades of Chaos when things get personal for him. Another change to the game is that Kratos now has two shields instead of the original one. These are the Stonewall and the Dauntless shields. One offers a lighter defensive option centered around the idea of counterattacks and parrying his opponents. The other is based around a bulky and slower alternative where you can't parry, but you can eat a string of attacks. It also blocks a good amount of attacks, then you are able to unleash a pulsing ground attack, dealing more damage to enemies around you. This new combat edition is sounding phenomenal, and we can't wait to finally test it out when the game launches on November 9th for both PS4 and PS5. And that's the end of today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest video. If you did, would you please let us know down in the comments section below? It would be very helpful. Make sure to like the video, comment down below, and of course subscribe to the channel with the notification bell rung. Thank you for watching today's video. Bye!